Hi guys, Nat from Tentworld Prospect here. We're going to cover the Jetboil Flash today. I've actually brought my own in so that we can have a bit of a play. So just starting off, this is one of the biggest sellers in the Jetboil range. It's a 1 litre cup and designed for hiking and pure water boiling only. Can't stress that enough. I've heard of people trying to boil milk in this, so be careful. Alright, it comes with a little container and measuring cup. It actually has a little measuring cup in there. Alright. Got the top that you want to leave on when boiling water, and inside you'll find enough space for the actual stove. And I've got something a little extra in here. I've actually bought the coffee plunger, which fits nicely. But generally you'll be able to fit a little 100-gram cartridge in there with your stove. Alright, so it's a nice little compact unit for hiking predominantly. A lot of military guys like using it. I've got the camo because I like the look. What you'll notice is the Jetboil Flash in particular has a few features that some of the others don't. What we've got is an inbuilt igniter switch. It's piezo, so it'll last you about 10,000 clicks or so. You can actually buy little replacements if you ever do run out. So it's just pretty quick and easy. Alright. Also, we've got a little heat indicator on the side here which tells us when the water has finished boiling. So it'll actually turn from black, as you see it now, to a bright orange. I'll show you how it works. So pretty easy. We're going to just make sure that this lever is in the off position before we attach it to the gas cartridge, because obviously we don't want gas coming through accidentally. So I'm just going to secure that on. This is a self-sealing cartridge by Jetboil. I've got the slightly larger one, the 230 grams, sorry. We're just going to attach the cup as so. It's got 3 little sections. It's a simple down and twist, just a little bit. I'm going to add some water so we can actually see how it goes. So I'm going to put in about, let's not forget, the cartridge stand. This is the stabilizer. So it actually goes in the bottom of your gas cartridge. It's got 2 sections so you can actually fit in the smaller cartridge on that as well for the stand. So, yeah, let's fill her up. Now, because that's a litre, I've just poured in half, so obviously we have half a litre in there at the moment. Pretty quick and easy. I'm going to just flick on the gas and ignite. Simple as that. Want to make sure that the lid is on while you're doing this at all times. And I'm going to turn that up. Alright, what you'll notice is that the indicator will start changing slowly in colour. Now, because I put in half a litre, it's going to take 2.5 minutes to boil. But you'll see it happening as we go. This is obviously one in the packaging, and it gives you all the stats to the side in case you're wondering. So if you ever pick up a Jetboil, just look at the side and it'll give you all the things you need to know. So it'll tell you it's a 1 litre cup, 100 grams of gas will give you 12 litres of boil. So 12 of these. So it'll cover you several days hiking if you're by yourself. Also, a 100-gram cartridge will last you an hour, so heaps of time. And obviously, I just told you half a litre will give you 2.5 minutes of cooking time before it's boiled, so you'll get heaps of use out of one little 100-gram cartridge. Now I can hear that starting to simmer away, but while that's happening, I'll just let you know there are a few more other Jetboils to the range. This is what's called an unregulated stove, so you can't simmer. That's why I can't stress enough, it's just water. If you have the model below, the Zip, it's got an 800-gram cup instead, and no piezo igniter, and no heat indicator on the side. So that's how you know the difference. It's just your little basic entry-level model. The next model up from the Zip would be the Mighty Mo, 800, so it's a litre cup, but it's a squat cup. And it will actually have an inbuilt regulator so you can simmer on it, alright, which gives it a bit more use than just boiling water. The Sumo is a model up from the Mighty Mo, and the Sumo is a 1.8 litre cup, so much bigger, big enough to cook for groups, and again it has an inbuilt regulator so you can do more than just boil water. And that's starting to turn a nice orange there. There we go, simple as that. Let's turn this puppy off. And from there, nice insulated cup so you can actually handle that. And the bottom, make sure you hold the bottom. You don't want to untwist it from the cartridge as you've got it attached. Simple little twist, pull up, and because the lid actually has a little hole there, I can actually pour that out into the cup or into my freeze-dried food packet that I've got ready to go. And because you can measure your water beforehand, you can pour in the exact amount you need in your freeze-dried food. Now, while we're here, I just wanted to mention, this cup obviously separates from the stove. You can actually buy something called a pot support, so you can actually attach other pots and pans in the Jetboil range onto these little stoves. The important thing I mentioned earlier is remember that this is not a regulated stove, so it is either full on, burning away, or it's off, alright? So make sure you use the Jetboil branded pots and pans. They have the special flux ring inbuilt into the cup and the pots and pans to distribute the heat upwards. If you're using a normal pot or pan on one of these, it's actually going to void the warranty because the heat is so hot, so much pressure coming out of there that it's actually going to transfer into the bottom stove. It's going to melt that. So it will be reflecting the heat rather than actually absorbing it up into the pot. Alright, so make sure Jetboil brand pots and pans only on these little puppies. If, however, you want to use potentially your own pots and pans and do a bit more than just boil or just fry, and you want to simmer, anything in the Jetboil range ending in Mo, so Mighty Mo, the Sumo, and the Mini Mo, they all have an inbuilt regulator, so they can actually simmer, and you can do a bit more on those. So you can get away with using a pot and pan and doing a little bit of simmering. Alright, but remember, the Flash and the Zip are only for purely boiling water for those hikers and those military personnel that really need it. Alright, cheers guys. Tentworld Prospect out.